Have you ever wondered how long the Thing can live? That's exactly what Reed Richards was wondering. Reed and his dad, Nathaniel Richards, built a time machine and prepared to go into Ben Grimm's future. Reed needed to know how his friend would fare when the other Fantastic Four were long gone. But son, this amount of intimate examination, it can complicate relationships in unforeseen ways. I have to ask, are you sure you want to do this? I have to know. Of course you do. Curiosity is a disease, one that's infected every Richards in every timeline. That's the #1 reason why Mr. Fantastic is such a powerful hero. Reed insists that Nathaniel can stay. Nathaniel, along with a few other future dwellers, have just rewritten the future. For the first time in a lifetime, Nathaniel doesn't know what lies ahead. Curiosity's gotten the best of Nathaniel, just as it has his son. Oh, I'm just as sick as you've ever been. They put the finishing touches on the device, type in the coordinates, and prepare to travel into the future. Okay, here we go. The father and son soar through time and space. Nathaniel's used to this. He's been a multiverse-hopping time traveler for decades, ever since he left his family when Reed was only a teenager. Reed never knew why his dad ran out, but as it turned out, it was for the betterment of the universe, for the betterment of all universes. I hate that I wasn't there enough when you were younger, but you've got to admit, this is much better than playing catch. Nathaniel shows his son the future, and it's beautiful. Reed stands awestruck as he witnesses the vast technology of New York City circa 3012. Flying cars, renewable energy, a healthy atmosphere, smiles on everyone's face. The future looks good. As always, Reed doesn't spend too much time enjoying the view. He pulls out a Herbie drone, which can hopefully help them locate the Thing. He rips off some convoluted science speak, but his dad cuts him off. That sounds fascinating, son, but I'm gonna be pretty disappointed if you spend our entire field trip with your eyes glued to a computer screen. Of course, Dad. Just give me... Ha! Look at that! I was right. Reed was able to hack this timeline's informational system, correctly assuming how future information systems would operate. He's located what he came here to find. There, standing high in the middle of the city, sits a beautiful piece of technologically advanced architecture. The Baxter Buildings. 1,000 years into the future, and Reed's prized tower still stands. And with it, everything Reed Richards and the Fantastic Four stood for. A millennial legacy is pretty impressive, son. The future appears to be in safe hands. As if on cue, something explodes on the side of one of the Baxter Buildings. Reed and Nathaniel stay back, but they watch on, thanks to that famed Richards curiosity. Skrull warriors climb out of the building. They're under attack. Reed searches through the Herbie drone for more answers. Apparently, Earth has aligned itself with the Shi'ar and Badoon, an alliance that's left the Kree uneasy. The Kree Empire has been falling. Now only a dozen or so planets remain from their empire that once stretched across 1,000 worlds. Now, the Kree use enslaved Skrull warriors to fight their battles. As always, heroes come to save the day. The Fantastic Four has thwarted them numerous times. Reed's legacy has stood the test of time in more ways than one. Over the last 1,000 years, teammates have come and gone, but there were always two constants: Reed's ultra-powerful son Franklin and Benjamin Grimm. Okay, you shape-shifting troublemakers. Bad days for the Kree terror state. Bad days for you. Ben doesn't look exactly as he did back in 2012, sporting a weird rocky beard, but some things never change. It's clobbering time! Thing easily dispatches 5 Skrull warriors with one swift blow. Franklin looks at his old friend with a grin. What are you smiling at, kiddo? It's been 1,000 years, and I never get tired of hearing that. The other two Fantastic Four members, a futuristic Human Torch and Spider-Woman, fight off the remaining invaders. Meanwhile, the 1,000-year-old Thing just laments his age. Tired? Kiddo, you don't know the half of it. I'm telling you, my sciatica is killing me. Reed and Nathaniel keep their distance, just watching, never interfering with the future. Everything looks as Reed would have expected, even the appearance of his friend. You don't look surprised. I thought it might be possible. For years, Ben's been stuck as the Thing. Reed spent all of his off hours trying to figure out how to bring him back, but nothing has worked. Recently, one of Reed's kids from the future created a serum for Ben. It allows him to turn back into a human, but only one time every year. It's the only time he ages. Only Reed considered how aging once a year would affect a person's future. Reed insists that they go a little farther into the future, but Nathaniel reminds him that he might not like what he sees. Even so, they go on. They arrive in the year 4012 in what's now called the New York City territory. 1,000 years later, and the world still prospers. The graduating class of this year's Future Foundation stands in a plaza, all eyes pointed toward the stage. The world's gotten far more diverse over the last couple millennia. Most of the graduates aren't even human. Out on the stage hobbles the head of the Future Foundation, the Thing, showing his age and sporting a walking stick. He sheepishly addresses the crowd. Hello! Over the past 2,000 years, only 2 other people have given the commencement speech for the Future Foundation. The most recent was Franklin, who had literally given thousands of these speeches, but he was just called off-world, running off with the gods. No one knows when Franklin will return. About time, if you ask me. The first person who gave this commencement speech? Well, that was a long time ago. The other person to stand here was his father, the man who started all of this, Reed Richards. I tell ya, he would have really loved to have seen this. Little did Ben know, Reed was watching all of it. He was watching his legacy stand the test of time, and he was watching his best friend carry it on. And he does indeed love to see it. So, what does a kid from Yancey Street say to a bunch of overachievers on this very special day? Maybe I should tell you anything is possible, but you already know that, don't you? I would tell you to go change the world, but you don't get in the door without first moving the earth beneath you. You're already very special, boys and girls, which only leaves me with one thing I can say. Enjoy it. These kids can save the universe all they want, but they shouldn't forget why the universe is worth saving in the first place. Ben knows this firsthand. Blink and you'll miss it all. Thing pauses for a second, thinking about his life, his adventures, and his friends. Then he raises his arms and yells, "Congratulations! Congratulations to all of you, the 4012 graduating class of the Future Foundation!" Reed and Nathaniel hear the roar of the crowd beneath them. See? What's wrong with that? Home? Further. They leap once more into the future, another 1,000 years. It's 5012 in the York Prefecture, and for the first time, the future looks bleak. Those once advanced towers are overrun. The sky is filled with a smoky haze. Outside, the world seems uninhabitable. Reed finds his friend sitting alone in an indoor park, muttering to himself. See, I tell ya, everybody here thinks I'm crazy. That ain't right. These kids of 5012, they just don't remember the old days. Ben may be an old grumpy man, but the world used to be better. Things didn't used to be this way. Take food, for instance. Now, all anyone eats is processed goo. It's been 1,500 years since Ben's even enjoyed a hamburger. A man can't live like that. Ben looks up toward the people he'd been talking to. At least I've got you guys. They're statues of his old friends, the original Fantastic Four. Thing's got no one else anymore, just memories of his loved ones from 3,000 years ago. So he sits alone, talking to these statues. Hey, maybe Franklin will come back soon. Wouldn't that be something? Reed looks at his heartbroken friend's future, sharing in his pain, but he needs to see more. Reed and Nathaniel go forward another 1,000 years just to be sure. They've arrived in 6012 to TNY Orb. The world is officially unrecognizable. Just a bunch of interconnected blobs housing citizens of the future. It seems they've found a way to protect humans from the once failing planet. In one of those orbs lies Ben Grimm's body. After 4,000 years, he's finally passed on. But unlike last time, he's not alone. Franklin has returned from his trek with the gods to say his final farewells. Goodbye, Uncle Ben. Reed watches his son lay his best friend to rest. Ben lived a good life, but it was a lonely life. For 1,000 years, he had nobody. Reed wonders what can be done in the present. Nathaniel has no words at all. Let's go home. They fly in silence back through time and space, returning home, back to 2012. Reed steps out of the time machine, but his father tries to talk. Reed blows him off. I'm fine, Dad. Reed pauses for a moment. Maybe he can't be there for his friend 4,000 years from now, or 1,000 years from now, or even 100 years from now, but he can be there for him today. Reed smirks as he stretches across the lab, snagging a couple of beers from the fridge. Reed heads to the TV room, where Thing's watching a boxing match with Bentley Whitman, temporary member of the Fantastic Four. So, big fight, huh? Yeah. Reed sits next to his old pal Ben, while Bentley's maybe a little too excited about the fight. Two modern-day gladiators set to pummel each other to bloody bits, so heck yeah! Bentley, and boxing. Is that a bad idea? Only if the bad guy wins. Reed hands Thing a beer. They sit for a moment in silence, watching the fighters duke it out. It's not all that often that Reed just sits. He's usually creating, problem-solving something. Are you sure you don't need to go build some kind of anti-doomsday thingy? Save the world or something? I'm good. Ben looks at Reed. There's no way he could comprehend what Reed just went through, but he's happy for one thing: a bit of time to sit back and relax with his old pal. I've missed you too, Stretch.